Then you'll hear from Mark, who will show you a fantastic approach to marketing and content creation, all done in Notion. And then we'll finish out with a Q&A. So feel free to use the chat on any of the channels, and we'll be coming back around at the end to answer those. So without further ado, Notion is an all-in-one workspace, really is the best way to describe it. Show you it's a flexible canvas giving you sort of Lego style.
Hold up there, Adrian.
With a Q&A. So feel free to use the chat on any of the channels, and we'll be coming back around at the end
feedback from someone else.
Those.
I'm hearing the stream from someone else.
Further ado, Notion is an all-in-one workspace.
I think that's because
I have... It's a
oh, it's working. That's why. Hold up there, Adrian. There we go. Okay. Sorry about that, Adrian. What happened was that we got the YouTube feed working. It actually went live. Crowdcast fixed it on the back end, and I had a preview over here. So thank you, everybody, for your patience. How fun. Sorry, go ahead, bud.
Great. All right. Well, everyone who's on YouTube, sorry for the ultra delay on your end, but we're up and running now, and we're continuing to monitor the chat there too. So that's all good. So quick intro on Notion. So Notion is a flexible canvas. It gives you Lego style building blocks to organize, create, and collaborate on the knowledge, information, and just stuff that makes up your work and or life. Notion is centered around really creating your own tools to solve all kinds of problems and really just harnessing minimal design with powerful functionality. So it's a place where work can both be organized and actually happen, either individually or across whole teams. So Notion is made up of a few key elements. So pages, Notion is really powerful for capturing knowledge, like I was mentioning, and you have pages in Notion which can be nested like in a wiki, and this can get either really complex or actually can keep things really simple and can really help to organize different pieces of information. And inside those pages, you've got blocks, and these are the core like Lego building blocks, which you can move around and lay out however you like. There are a bunch of different types of blocks, everything from text headers to to-do lists, to embedded websites, to embedded tools, to images, PDFs, like a whole ton of stuff under the sun. And blocks can really sort of be built up to make pages, and these pages can actually be whole websites that are public to organize content. And then the other quick thing that I'll mention are databases. This is another really powerful key aspect of Notion, which lets you organize pages and information about those pages in a structured way, letting you sort of flexibly manage your workflows, organize all kinds of different data. And you can connect databases together to craft really fairly advanced systems all inside of Notion. So that's my quick exposition. Certainly doesn't do justice, but I encourage you to log into it and play around. Don't be afraid of that first empty page. You can really fill it with whatever your heart desires or your work needs. So now over to Mark for our feature presentation. So cute.
There we go. That's why you couldn't hear me. Thank you so much, Eric. I'm trying to keep an eye on the chat at the same time. I muted myself while Adrian was talking. So we are going to get into a suite of templates that I've been working on for the last few months with streamers to kind of come up with a streamlined process for folks who manage their marketing all by themselves to sort of have a maybe if not automated just yet, Notion API, what up? Then at least have something streamlined on Rails that they can use to help them make their way through the world of streaming. Most people who start creating content on the internet don't have an experience or a background in marketing. They don't have experience in marketing themselves, and they kind of need a little bit of the discipline and the professional aspect to kind of help guide them through this new field and this work that they're doing, right? So we've designed this with a bunch of the really neat, powerful features that Adrian's talking about, that Notion has. There's a lot of relations in here, databases talking to one another, and I'm just going to give you a quick crash course through it, and then we will share the templates a little bit later on down the line. You'll see there's still a little bit of work to be done in here. Some of what's in here I was still doing very recently because this is all in active use. In fact, I think some of the streamers who use these templates are in the chat with us at the moment, who have been helping me come up with this structure. So let's start over here on the left. There's a getting started piece here so that when people make a copy of the template, they can see kind of how we expect things to be used. But this really kind of does need a sort of like a handhold to get started because there's a lot going on. We've also got a survey here for when we share it. But this first database that we'll dive into is a sort of agile, getting things done database to help streamers and content creators and marketers kind of keep track of everything that's going on. This is part of the beauty of Notion. You can build this out exactly how you want. We used a couple of tetraglyphs here for backlog in progress and done. Having visual indicators in Notion really makes a difference. So that's why we lean into these as much as we can. We use emoji as much as we can. If you've ever played a card game, you know, or if you've participated in online communities, you know that the visuals actually really make a difference for your brain to associate to information. After a while, if someone uses the same avatar and you're in a community a lot, you recognize the avatar. And you just associate it with that person, right? Same idea. If you play a card game, the art in the card, you start to associate it when it's on the battlefield, so you don't have to read the card. You can just see the art. You know, okay, that's a counterspell, right? Same idea in Notion. So using emojis as much as humanly possible really makes a big difference for us. The only piece that doesn't really have a visual indicator here is this, and this is one of the heaviest pieces to try and help a content creator learn about is this sort of like agile methodology, right? Too much methodology is never a good thing, but this is one of the really great pieces about agile that I really love is the Fibonacci sequence of assigning points to a particular task. And if it gets too big, then it's obviously not just one task, it's multiple tasks. And this really helps help streamers prioritize the work that they have to do and dive into aspects of their work that they might not have necessarily realized needed to be done, right? Because priorities are different depending on fields. So this one is just like a really simple database for getting things done. Over here on the right is when things start getting a little bit wacky, right? So the first thing that we tell streamers is you really need to come up with a goal, a purpose. Why is it that you're doing what you're doing, right? One of the things that we have in here is Simon Sinek's talk about starting with why, right? What is it that you're looking to achieve as a content creator? So whether this is something that is aspirational or something that's actually quantifiable, that all goes into your purposes, right? This is the reason why you do any of this stuff. And this is super important for streamers because streamers are very creative, which I get. I went to art school. I understand there's constantly tons of ideas flying around, but not every idea is worth pursuing. So the idea with the purposes is to help streamers identify which of those threads are the ones they need to be pulling in their minds, right? Which ideas make sense. And the way that we help them process that is we say, is this in service of one of these goals? How does that idea, this great idea for this new series that you want to do online, how does that help you improve your stream setup? Can you get a sponsorship through that through like Logitech, through Twitch? Can you become a Twitch partner, right? Like how is what you want to do connected to what you need to do, right? So in this database, we have a little checkbox here for milestones. These are for the more specific and quantifiable pieces that folks are going to want to be paying attention to. And then the other really neat piece that we have is this quarter formula. So there is not the option to set up a visualizer through each and every single database in Notion, right? So a lot of the time you're going to have to use formulas to get what you need done. So for this case, we have a date here scheduled for when this particular goal is going to be due, when we're going to be working on it. And then the formula is pulling the date and checking against which week in the year it is. And then assigning an appropriate modifier for that, so that when we go in here, we can actually view things by the quarter that they're in, right? When are we planning on working on this? Inside here, you'll see a relation. These relations are connected to the campaigns, which if you are familiar with marketing, if you're familiar with PR, then you'll be familiar with a campaign, but a lot of streamers aren't, so we struggle a little bit with naming this. At first, it was called authority scopes. Because that's kind of what these campaigns are to a content creator, right? To a marketer. There should really only ever be, each database, by the way, has a little description to kind of how to use it. You should only ever really be working on 4 to 5 campaigns at any given moment, right? But one campaign might become active or inactive or planned over time, right? Something that you're working on to bring back active into the zeitgeist, so to speak, of what you're talking about. That's kind of how we think about this is the zeitgeist of your social feed, of your stream, right? So these active panels here, the way we describe these to streamers is this is how a viewer will describe you to someone they want to check out your stream, right? So when you're at someone's house playing video games in person, you're a 12-year-old kid, whatever, watching streams, you're going to say, oh, hey, you should go and check out this streamer. They do all kinds of stream setup stuff. And I know you've been trying to set up your stream. You should go check out this streamer. They're really good at Final Fantasy 14. And I only just started playing, and I've learned a lot about the game from them and the metagame. You should go check out this streamer. They're a variety streamer. They do evening streams and morning streams, right? They don't actually play a whole lot of video games, but they're really fun to watch and super funny. You should only have 4 or 5 of these active at any given moment, because if this is what you want people to be talking to other people about then you don't want to overload them, right? So these campaigns then get tied to, these are like the big, broad, overarching campaigns, or ideas anyway. This is kind of, we think about this as the what are you trying to say, right? You start with why. And now you know what it is that you're trying to say. You know what you want your audience to take away. The next piece that this gets connected to are these modules down here. And these modules are like different story lenses, right? Different ways to think about who is consuming your content. And we break these down into 4 different types. So you've got a very simple boxing metaphor. This is actually from a Gary Vaynerchuk book called Jab, 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 Right Hook. The idea here being, we live on the internet. Content is free. In order for someone to feel like they want to spend money on your content or on a product that you're offering, you should provide them some value first, right? Because they have a choice when it comes to what to watch on the internet. So why not provide value to your audience, to your viewers? So the idea here being that you don't want to throw a right hook, which is a call to action saying, hey, buy this thing, spend money on me, do with it, share a link to this stream. You don't want to do a right hook until you know you've done enough jabs to kind of like open them up to even feeling like they want to provide some value back to you, right? That's just the nature of the balance of things when it comes to content creation. So this one's really, really big and really important. The lenses are sort of another artifact or kind of inspired by another field. If you're familiar with product or project management or product design, you're familiar with thinking about your users in different personas, right? Who is it that's watching this thing, right? This is how we think about our audience as a streamer. Who is watching what I'm doing, right? If I'm posting fitness updates, is that a gym rat that I'm creating content for, right? Am I trying to establish some authority in a new particular subset of a space? Is this person an up and coming streamer, and that's why a stream setup tour makes a lot of sense to send to them, right? These ideas help us kind of ensure that if we are trying to do a particular thing, a particular goal, and this particular piece of our audience is super important for us, then when we drill down into content, we'll see the content gets associated with these lenses, so we can see, have I made something for this audience in a while, right? If we have an opportunity come down the pipe that's a right hook where we can make money speaking to a particular subset of our audience of up and coming streamers, when was the last time I made content for them, right? So we have a filter in the content calendar that you'll see that helps us identify that kind of stuff. Storylines are maybe the most important pieces here. Storylines are hyper intensely unique to you as a content creator. When we talk about, content being free on the internet, what is it that makes you so different from the next person who's streaming the same exact game, right? What are the stories that happen to you in your life that are unique to you that you would tell over coffee or at a dinner conversation, right? Those kinds of things are the sort of like cultural and societal touchstones that viewers are going to latch on to from you, right? They're going to remember what you're doing, the campaigns. They're not really thinking about which kind of viewer they are to you. They're going to remember the way you made them feel, right? People don't really tend to remember the things you say to them. They remember the way you make them feel. So if you give them something to emotionally connect to about why you got your start in games, how you wound up streaming, that's a really fabulous way to reach through the screen and really grab onto a viewer. So this is one of the actual lightest databases that we have here. This one really does not have a lot going on, and you can see because I've duplicated this a couple times, old relations to old databases are still here, so I'm still cleaning up a handful of pieces. So pardon the dust. Pardon the dust and the pops in the mic. The last database that we have here is a content-focused database, right? So we've got purpose, we've got your campaigns, we've got your messaging modules, different ways to think about what it is that you're saying. And now we've got your actual content itself, right? So we separate this into pilots, trying something new, performers, things that have been doing pretty well, signatures, things that are flagship pieces of content, and organic content, which is content that did not get planned, things that you just decided to tweet, you decided to respond to a particular thing. We want you to grab those performers from there and put them into this database so that we can track what's going on, right? We've also got one more little piece here, which is pillar content, this is another Gary Vaynerchuk concept, which is this sort of content funnel where you start from a very large piece of content and drill that down and disseminate out into dozens of pieces of content. So for streamers, this is such a natural extension, right? Because streamers are already live for 4 to 6 hours at a time, multiple times a week. 4 hours alone can be disseminated into over 60 individual pieces of content across all platforms, whether it's Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, Snapchat, TikTok, you name it. The potential is crazy. So we use this one to filter out which of these are pillar content, which of these are a long piece from which we will derive smaller pieces. And to that end, we also have some of Notion's more powerful stuff in this database as well. We make excellent use of the self relation. So you can not only relate a database in Notion to another database, but you can relate it to itself. And that's not omnidirectional. It is a single directional. What's the opposite of omni? A unidirectional? Yeah, unidirectional connection, so that you're not seeing them both in here, but they are still connected to one another, right? So to one another. So we've got a parent task and a subtask. If I click through to this, it's in the same database, but it has this connection to its parent task, so that you can filter out parent tasks from their subtasks, and you can keep track of those other smaller pieces of content that you're going to be making from your pillar content. I told it a little itty bitty lie. There is one more database. It's the platforms database. This one's mostly just for tags, though. So this one gives us a really easy way to drill down and see which one it is that we're making a particular piece of content for. And then you can also filter, of course, by let's just focus on the stuff that is our live stream. So that's what we do down here, for example. So this is a linked database. This is a different view for the same exact data from the same content creation database. But here what we have is our stream schedule, right? So here you can see we have a stream. I did a stream on the Discord server that you can go and check out. this past Monday. And you can see here we've got the Notion NYC virtual meetup. This is a live stream. Got a handful of categories in here as well. And the beauty of Notion is that these are all customizable, right? So this is how we show streamers how to use this tool. But the beauty of this is that it is so customizable. It's a little counterintuitive in that way, because it's really kind of asking that you do the work in telling Notion how you want to use Notion. But once you get set up, it's really wild. It's super effective at so many different kinds of things. So the last thing that I want to show you here that I'm happy with and proud of is actually this guy, Ben, in the Discord server helped me out with this. So we made a little tag here, which is a roll-up from the messaging module database. So that is the only other quite complex thing that happens here, is not just what it's related to, but we make a little emoji tag for it, because the emoji that we have here, I don't want that. I want to bubble up information. So what we have this emoji tag doing is bubbling up which type it has been assigned. So this formula is checking which type is assigned to this particular module. Bubble up the emoji from that type. So if it's a right hook, put a boxing glove, so that when we roll that up outside of that database, we can still see not just which modules we're using, but we can see which kind of module they are. Right? So we could also even get wild if we wanted this to be a longer tag. We could get weird with it and append the name of the existing thing so that you can see both the emoji for the module itself and the emoji for the type, but I'm trying to keep things a little cleaner. So this is so incredibly helpful when you're looking at your content, because you can do the same thing that you can do by filtering by quarter, and you can do the same thing when you're looking at, for example, like, let's see, what do we got under performers? So let's show the module tags here. And we can see, okay, well, these don't have modules assigned just yet. We have a particular space in here for a view for that as well. Anything that doesn't have a module assigned, pop in here. Think about who is consuming your content. Assign a module to it, right? Get that done. And then when you zoom out, the beauty of this entire thing is when you zoom out, you can come all the way up that funnel. Right? So looking at content that already has something assigned, like let's say progress pics, this is associated with the messaging module for fitness regimens. Fitness regimens is a subset of making self-care a priority. That is the campaign that it's associated with, and the campaign that it's associated with is associated with the goals of making self-care a priority is going to help me get to 5,000 Instagram followers, and it's also going to help me make 5 people feel better in Q3 2020. And that's a quick crash course. Super flexible, super customizable. Really love Notion for this purpose and purpose. And that's it. We've gotten a lot of feedback from streamers, and we're really looking forward to continuing to build this thing out. And we'll share it with the community as soon as it's ready. I'm going to take a look at the chat, Adrian. I think my headset might have gone silent, so I don't hear you, Adrian. Oh, Adrian, you're muted if you're talking. Cannot unmute you. And my headset's on. I don't hear Adrian, though. Folks, we lost Adrian. I think we should probably call the whole thing off if we don't have Adrian. Well, oh, there he is. I hear him now. No,
Hey, Mark.
There he is.
Sorry, I was watching the 20-second delayed one.
Oh, okay. So now, okay, got it. So the audience gets to watch me make faces for 20 seconds. Amazing. So did we have any questions come through?
So yeah, we have a couple of questions from folks on YouTube.
Sweet.
So I'll start with the first one, which is a general question about Notion. When is offline mode going to get better? And we feel you for sure. We know that Notion is for sure working on this. It's in their roadmap, and we're all waiting with bated breath for it. They're sort of working through growth, and you can see some of their team members AMA sessions on Reddit who will speak to this in more detail. But they're trying their best for sure to get a better offline mode. They've just, I think, recently hired some native developers who can we can really get that working better for all devices. So please hold out with the rest of us. A second question is coming from Salvi on YouTube, Salvi B. He's asking, will there be SEO tools for Notion?
Okay.
So one thing to note here is actually there's a bit of SEO already built into Notion. If you make a public web page, if you make one of your pages public, there's a little setting that you can set to say, allow search engines to find this page. And that will enable it to be SEO findable. That's, I think, sort of as much as you can really push in terms of like real deep SEO, but you can for sure make sure you're putting a lot of good content inside the pages that will help it pop up as well.
Heck yeah.
And yeah, any other questions? Feel free to add them into the chat, in any chat that you have open. We're watching all of them.
Who is an active YouTube or Twitch viewer? Anybody? Sound off in the chat if anybody is. Let's see. Come on. Discord's still being a real jerk about it. But if y'all head to the Discord server, we can continue this conversation indefinitely. I think Emily popped a link in. Yes, thank you, Emily. Here's the link to the Discord server on YouTube as well. It's such a great place to learn how to use Notion better, to get help with using Notion, and even just outside of that, it's just honestly, it's just been really lovely people. Eric, you're into streaming. Amazing. So, what kind of streams do you watch on Twitch or YouTube? Do you watch games? Do you watch Study with Me? Which channel is best? The channel for the chat for this stream is live, but once you're in there, once you're on the Discord server, you can also you can assign yourself a role for your region, all kinds of stuff. So if there aren't any questions, that's okay. That just means that I did an acceptable job in explaining these things. So if there aren't any more, I mean, like, I can get my dog. Do you want to see my dog? Like, yeah, we can absolutely continue the chat there. Did we get any questions via? Oh, we can do a little call to action via. Look at that. Join the Discord. Look at that. We can do a call to action right on the stream. That's exciting. Cool. Yeah. So if that's it, Adrian, do you want to wrap it up?
Sure. Yep. And anyone who's on YouTube didn't see that call to action, but we will pop that link in there for you.
Yes, the link is in the chat. If you're on YouTube, the link is right above you. Tim McGee. The link is right above you in the chat. I'll do what Anna does when she's streaming and she wants something to like make sure it gets seen. Oh, the link did not appear, Ian? Okay.
I just it's on Podcast.
Oh, okay. Got it.
Yeah.
So the template will be shared in the future, Eric's. We will share it. I just need a little bit more time to like clean it up. I don't know if you've seen it. It's a little bit messy in here. But yeah, it will absolutely be live very, very soon. I shared it on the subreddit, actually. If you're not subscribed to the Notion subreddit, subscribe to the Notion subreddit. I shared it there for feedback when it was in its earliest stages, and I've since been working with streamers for a while, so I've gotten a lot more feedback on it. So it will be shared very soon, but if you're already on the mailing list for Notion NYC, great. And if you're in the Discord, I'll be sharing it there as well.
Totally. Yes. All right, so I think we'll go ahead and wrap up, everyone. Thank you for joining us. As Mark mentioned, we'll for sure share the templates that Mark showed you. We'll also be sharing the slides and all those links to the events, to the Discord server, to Reddit, all that good stuff. So look out for those. And we're hoping to continue event programming in the next coming months. That will probably be online, but we'll sort of play it by ear. So we're looking forward to having you all join us again. Please hit us up on the Discord server for sure. Like Mark said, pretty much almost someone is almost always on. So
Yeah.
That's a great place to connect. And we really hope you all are enjoying your use of Notion. I think that's it for us.
It has been completed. Thank you so much. We'll see you in the inner tubes.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.